And I think we're live. Welcome to the live stream. We are going to be doing Dungeon Master Q&A tonight. That's what this is all about. So welcome to the live stream. Arthi Leveni is in the house. Dan Bayer, what up, dude? I remember you from... Were you at the mini painting one or the last live stream last week or something? I don't know. I recognize your name, though. FPS Trollesta. Ooh, a troll is in the channel. Awesome. Hi, JD. What up, man? Welcome. And For the XP has arrived. Awesome. Good to see you folks in the stream tonight. So, Moose King. Are you the Moose dude from my Discord, dude? Or are you a different Moose? Tatsuk, what up? How's it going? So, Dungeon Master question and answer tonight. If you got a question, drop your hashtag question with your Dungeon Master question, your D&D question, whatever. I don't care. You can ask me questions. It's whatever. I reserve the right to decline to answer, of course. So throw that stuff down there. I do have some people did like they answered my, what do you want to call it, the YouTube community post, and there were some folks there that had some questions. So I'm just gonna start going through these bad boys to get us rolling, get us in the questioning mode tonight. As I see questions popping into the chat, I will be answering those questions. Clammy Oysters in the house. What up, buddy? XPLO does live. Hello. Welcome to the stream. Dungeon Master Q&A tonight. Yeah, looks like I got a few questions in here. Drop your questions in. What's in the coffee cup? What's in the mug? Official answer? Coffee. For the XP has a question. All right, cool. I'll get your question, dude. And then I'll go Wiggles. Wiggles has a question from the thingy bobber here. All right, for the XP question, what do you feel has been your biggest failure mishap during your career of DMing, and how do you recover? Well, I haven't been paid to DM yet, so I wouldn't call it a career. My biggest failure mishap. I had one recently.
Hey, look at that, everybody! There's a new follower!
Let's go stab him in the back then!
If only our rogue wouldn't kill our followers.
All right, FPS Trollista, making us dance tonight. Awesome, thanks, sir. For following the lair. All right, and oh man, more people making me dance.
Hey,
XP Lotus live.
There's a new follower.
Let's go stab him in the back then!
If only our rogue wouldn't.
All right,
kill
no more
our
people
followers.
following. I gotta keep dancing. I'm just gonna have to keep. I can't answer questions if you guys keep like following me and stuff. That's crazy. So here's a serious question. Can you guys hear the music, like,
Hey,
and
look
my
at that,
voices and
everybody.
stuff? Can you hear that?
There's a
Because
new
I hooked that stuff
follower.
up.
Let's go stab him in the back
I don't know if you can
then.
hear that though.
If only our rogue wouldn't kill our followers.
Cool. Awesome.
Look at that, everybody! There's a new follower!
Let's go stab him in the back then!
If only our rogue wouldn't kill our followers.
Are we done? Are we done yet? We're not going to get a lot of questions answered tonight with that. I should probably make the little alert thingy a little bit shorter, just in case. All right. Yeah, I think it's a little too long. It keeps me dancing a little bit too long. I was answering a question. The reason I asked if you guys could hear it is when I did my mini streaming on Wednesday, we painted a bunch of minis together. Well, we painted some of minis. I had the volume too low on like the music and the voices, and so people couldn't hear it. And so I was just dancing to myself. I was assuming that you guys could all hear it, but nobody could hear it. And so I just probably looked like a moron, but that's life. I'm a dungeon master. I'm accustomed to looking like a moron. We were answering questions. Somebody had a question way up here. Let me see. Who had it? Moose had a big question. My biggest failure. So I'm just going to pick one off the top of my head right now. This is a recent one. I don't know if this is the biggest failure, but I recently had a new player come to my group, and I think I feel like I probably didn't make her feel welcome enough or something. I don't know what it was. She was new to the game and stuff, and she ended up having to leave toward the beginning. She was kind of having like a panic attack or something. I don't know. I don't know what it was. I feel like she said it was a thing, and we talked afterwards, and I reached out to her and I was like, hey, what could we have done better? Is there anything we could have done or something? And it sounds like it's a thing, people have anxiety and stuff like that, but there's always a little bit of me that was like, could I have done something to make her feel more welcome, or to, you know what I mean? I guess she's not accustomed to being in groups and stuff, you know what I mean, with people or something. So there's a part of me that's like, I could have done something, right? I don't know. So I consider that a failure of sorts, So a moment for introspection at the very least for future onboarding of new players. So there you go. True confessions of a bad dungeon master. More questions. I don't know if I have any mods in the house. If I have any mods in the house, if you can shout me something over in the deputy lounge, and let me know you're here, or just say something in the chat and I'll sword you and all that good stuff. That was a good question. Moose King had a question. I saw a video where this guy talked about using the polymorph spell in conjunction with power word kill. Polymorph power word kill. He said that when you polymorph something with 100 points or less, the polymorph kill rules plus stats will die immediately after reverting. What do you think about that? No. Nope. So I think my buddy John and I looked at that at work, perhaps, or maybe some of my players showed that to me and talked to me about it. And I think my official ruling was, I think when I looked at it, it didn't seem to work that way anyway. But my ruling was if you polymorph something and then you use power word kill on it, it would just eat through the polymorph or something. I think that was my ruling on it at the time when we kind of talked about it. It's never come up in game though. If it actually comes up in game, then I would probably give it a much more thorough look-see. But I haven't really dug into it a whole lot, in all honesty. I don't deal with a lot of things. I don't do a lot of theory work, like what ifs and all these kind of scenarios. I usually just kind of do my thing, wait for something to come up in my games that I run, and then we make some sort of ruling or we figure something out. Yeah, so, but that's my off-the-cuff answer. I don't know if that's the right interpretation. I have not dug into it a whole lot. But it seemed kind of cheesy to me, a little bit. That said, you did spend a polymorph spell on something, which I think is level 4 or 5, and you did use power word kill. So you could argue that that's a big investment. It should kill the thing outright. I don't know. And the thing had a couple chances to make saving throws. Wait, does power word kill give saving throws? I think it doesn't. I think that the way that spell works, I haven't used it. We've never used that in our group, so I could be wrong. But it might not have a saving throw. In which case, I don't know. I'm on the fence. I don't know. I haven't thought about it a whole lot. That's my answer. I'm just going to keep waffling back and forth if I stick on that topic. Make sure you do a hashtag all caps question mark if you're asking a question, because otherwise I might not see it. What kind of playable race would you like to see added to 5th edition? I don't know. I don't care. I don't care. As a dungeon master, I don't usually care about those things. I'm sure if you ask my players what races they'd like to see, they'd have opinions on that. I'm happy with the monsters that we have, and I'm happy to see more monsters introduced into the game. I look at monsters and creatures. Those are the things that get me going. I was really excited about Mordecai's Tome of Foes, and I love Volo's Guide to I love lore. I love monster lore. Reading the monster lore in Volo's and Mordecai's doesn't have a lot of monster lore. Some though, devils and Githyankies, it does. But there's a lot of elves and dwarves and stuff. Well, Dwerger. Monster lore gets me jazzed up, and it helps to kind of get my juices flowing so that I can then think about this would be a really cool campaign or something, so I love monster lore. I know not everybody feels that way. I like it. More questions. Power kills straight death, no save. Yeah. Jester Nario. Question. So what was the most memorable thing the players did to make you say you do what now? I don't know. The thing that I didn't think they were gonna. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question, dude. I had a player. Actually, this is a cool story. So this is my game at work. Okay, so imagine I'm playing D&D with my coworkers. Okay, and one of the coworkers is like, she's my friend and stuff, but she's not super reserved, but she's not like, she's like halfway serious, halfway reserved. So we they had this enemy or something. I forget the specifics of it, but she basically said that she wanted to squat down over the enemy and then just rip one. Okay, and we had her roll. I think I had her roll a performance check. All right, and she rolled really high, and so it was death by fluctuation for that enemy. But she was dying. We were all just dying in laughter. Imagine, we're in a work site. We were in a corporate setting playing D&D. This is what happens, and we're just dying. It was a very memorable session. Woo. Moose King says when he watched the video, it seemed like he was misinterpreting the polymorph rule. It's possible. I think I see. Here's the thing. Players like to misinterpret rules, I've found, or they have, not all players, but some of them. I have at least one or two players in mind of mine that love to, balance rules interpretations to their side of the story, right? Which, not all players, but some do. So I would be interested to know, whoever's making that argument, what side of the screen they're on, when they're trying to argue whether that combination should work or not. You know what I mean? So, obviously I try to play it impartially. Obviously I'm kind of required to say that I'm impartial. You know what I mean? I try to play it by the book though. Rules as written. Interpret it exactly as the rules say. So that's you know what? You guys were talking about this too much. Now I'm gonna look it up. Now you guys are making me look up polymorph. Actually, you know what? There should be an online version of polymorph that we can look at. Hold on. Polymorph 5e. Now we're actually going to read the rule. There should be a where is this stupid thing? Stand by. I'm gonna give you my desktop look so you can see what's going on over here. We're gonna look up polymorph spell because you guys keep talking about it. 5e SRD. We should be able to look up polymorph. I get a bunch of ads. Thank you. Polymorph. Do I want some Pathfinder 2nd edition? Come get some. No, thank you. I just want to find the polymorph spell. That's all I care about. So, as we dig into this, blah, 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 blah. Okay. The transformation lasts for the duration or until the target drops to 0 hit points or dies. Okay? When it reverts, so it says, when it comes to 0 hit points or dies, the target assumes the hit points of its new form. When it reverts to its normal form, aka when the spell ends, the creature returns to the number of hit points it had before it transformed. If it reverts as a result of dropping to 0 hit points, any excess damage carries over to its normal form. Okay? As long as the excess damage doesn't reduce the target's normal form to 0 hit points, it isn't knocked unconscious. The creature is limited in its actions it can perform, blah, 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 blah. Okay, that's good. We're going to open up a new tab, and we're going to take a look at the Power Word Kill spell. The question here, the big question is, does Power Words Kill, does it say that it kills you? Does it say that, I'm wondering exactly what this spell says, So you utter a word of power that can compel one creature you can see to die instantly. If the creature you choose has 0 hit points or fewer, it dies, otherwise the spell has no effect. Okay, so really what we're talking about here then is this line right here. I'm going to zoom in so you guys can see the line I'm looking at. This line right here says, the transformation lasts for the duration or until the target drops to 0 hit points or dies. So, it sounds like to me that when the target dies, let's say you're polymorphed into a bunny rabbit. When the bunny rabbit, who is the target, dies, the transformation goes away, right? And since power word kill doesn't actually deal physical damage, I don't think any damage carries over. I mean, the way I'm seeing this, the bunny rabbit died, which means the transformation reverts back to normal. I don't think it works. I think power word kill will kill the bunny rabbit, okay? But there's no damage that's transferring over into the druid, let's say, who transformed into it, or whatever.
Hey, look at that, everybody! There's a new follower!
Let's go stab him in the back then.
If only our rogue wouldn't kill our followers.
Yeah, that stinger is far too long. It should last for like 3 or 5 seconds. I have it set for like a half a minute. Panda, what up? Welcome back to the stream, buddy. So anyway, I think that's my interpretation of the polymorph spell. I don't think it would work. I'm always, this is just one side of the story. Usually when things like this come up in my games, this is the way it goes down. We read the spells, I talk to my players, they tell me what they think. We usually, for something like this, that, we might take the time to go onto Twitter, see if Jeremy Crawford has made any like rulings on it, because he's the rules dude, you know what I mean? And we'll have a discussion, and then we will decide what we think is, the way to go. Usually these types of rule discussions are a group effort. I don't just like make a cold ruling. Usually I try to discuss this sort of thing with my players, so that we can all, hopefully we can arrive at the same conclusion. If I have to make the final call and say we're doing it this way, I will, but I usually want to reach consensus if at all possible. It's just better that way, in my opinion. All right, more questions. I'm gonna do some scrolly. If you had to choose another setting to play in, what setting would you choose? Dark Sun. I have wanted to play in Dark Sun actually for a while now. I like the idea of the low magic. I like the idea of the survival type stuff. I like the fact that spellcasters are gonna have a little bit of harder time and that sort of thing. So I'm not super familiar with it. I've just heard people tell me about it. I've not read about it at all, in all honesty. But the idea intrigues me. So I think Dark Sun would be interesting. That said, I've played in Forgotten Realms for like forever, and transitioning to a new campaign setting would be rough because I got to learn a bunch of junk. More than likely, I would probably just like take Forgotten Realms and reskin it with some of the Dark Sun mechanics that I like. Have them be in the big desert or something, and then have that sort of stuff happening. I don't know. Thoughts off the top of my head. Justin Mario, you got a question or something? I think I got your question. There you go. I got your own question. XP Low does live. Some of my players seem to just not like most NPCs, friendly or not. Any advice on how to make them more trusting? Why don't they trust them? Have you done it too many times where an NPC introduces himself and then ends up backstabbing him? Like, because if you do that too many times, then yeah, they're not going to trust the NPCs. They're going to think that any NPC could be a plant that could backstab them. So if you've done that too many times, aka more than once, then they're not going to trust the NPCs. I think some of the NPCs that my players have taken a liking to, I think, are the ones that are usually have kind of a silly voice, so they don't take them too seriously. They usually are pretty open and forthcoming and transparent in their answers and stuff, even to the extent of being kind of like brutally honest, like, giving them information that they probably shouldn't have given them, and yeah, being small in stature, being weak, like, these are all characteristics of Gary the Intern, okay? Gary the Intern is a famous NPC that I think I have shown now in all of my groups, and There's actually, I have a video coming out. It's going to be a while, but there's a video planned about Gary the Intern. I think it's about a month out from here. But those are all characteristics of Gary the Intern. And I'll tell you, every single time, every group that I have introduced Gary the Intern to, they've all loved him. Okay, nobody's been distrusting. They love him, they accept him, and he can become a member of the group. He's a kobold, so he ends up dying pretty quickly. At least once he died pretty quickly, you know. But I think those are winning combinations so far that I have discovered. Other than that, I don't know. I don't have any super great advice. I think honestly, NPCs are hit and miss. You just don't know. You have no idea whether your players are going to take a liking to an NPC or not. And so my advice, what I kind of do is I introduce NPCs. I don't become too attached to them because I know that they might not work very well at the table. And then when there is an NPC that my group takes a liking to, I hold on to that bad boy and I roll with it. And that NPC could become a central NPC in the game just because my players love the NPC. So that's usually how I do that sort of thing. Just make the stinger the barbarian voice. That's the only reason people watch your videos anyway.
Hey, that's not very nice. I think that okay, well I guess that's okay. I just be the barbarian forever.
I should get my like hand blue and put my barbarian face paint on. Do a whole stream as the barbarian. I don't know. That might be unbearable for some people. I did, what was it? I did like one of my videos that I did a couple months ago was literally I was the barbarian the entire video, and I was just showing people how to make a player, like a PC, like a character sheet basically. So it was like an hour of me, almost an hour of me on camera in my barbarian getup with my barbarian voice and mannerisms, showing you how to make a player sheet. That's over on my YouTube channel. You can search for that and find it. It was a few months ago, but I got some comments on that where people were just like, Luke, you know, this is unbearable. I can't watch you being this stupid moron for an entire video. So there you go. Thank you for the input though, Clammed. I definitely got to make that stinger shorter. When I was first making it, like I wasn't considering that like how much it would interrupt the stream and how much. And I wasn't anticipating that I would have multiple people following in a row that would trigger it, like a chain reaction type thing. So, all right, looking for more questions. Satyr are goats. Satyr are half goats. They are, Paul. I don't know if you had a question. Panda made it on time. You absolutely made it on time, Panda. Yes, no polymorphing a dragon into a dung beetle and then power word killing them. That would just wind up being a very angry dragon. I mean, what is a polymorph? What's the spell? A polymorph is a wisdom saving throw. I mean, if you're running a dragon and polymorph comes at the dragon, you're going to use your legendary resistance, I sure hope, right? For sure. And make sure you don't get polymorphed. But I think that's a little lame. If you polymorph a dragon and then just power word kill it, I think you would probably just, the way to kill a dragon would be to have like, you know, everybody, tons of wizards get together, you know, and they would just go into the dragon's place and just polymorph him, keep their own polymorphs at him until he finally turns into a bunny rabbit, and then one of them's like, you're dead. So I don't, if you kind of like exaggerate the example in the game world, hunting and killing dragons would be a simple ordeal if all you have to do is polymorph him and then power word kill. If you have enough wizards casting it, he's going to fail eventually. I don't know. Glad to make it on time. Question. Have you seen some of the mimic lore? Apparently, the common mimic is really big and can actually talk, and usually bargains with players and only attacks when weak. Did you know that? I did not. I didn't know that. I do know about mimics though, that the better way to deploy a mimic is not as a chest, right? Deploy mimics as doors or tables or bookcases or windows that they might have to sneak through, or have the mimic be the floor tiles. So they literally walk onto the floor tiles which are a mimic flattened out to look like floor tiles, and then you got them. Make the mimic be a rug that's on the floor, and they're just walking into the room, and then bam. So those are different ideas about mimics for you. Okay. The cat succeeded its stealth roll. Where is the cat? Did you see the cat walking along? I have a cat cam too. I'll show you. I always have a cat cam. Where's my cat cam? Where's my cat cam? Here's my cat cam. There's a cat right here currently, but no cats in the cat cam currently. Welcome to the DM layer where we have a cat cam. Oh, that's awesome. Panda, have you ever ran larger scale battles such as armies? Any tips? So yes, I have. I'm gonna take a tactical drink of coffee to extend the suspense of my answer. I do it all narratively, all theater of the mind. The 5th edition core rule set is not intended to deal with armies. In fact, before D&D existed, they were doing like large scale battles, and they, back in the day, they made the D&D system so that you're not controlling armies, you're controlling individual like groups of characters. So the D&D core system is made to accommodate a small group of players. It does not work very well with armies. Like I've tried once to have like a large group of characters and allies and a large group of enemies, and we played it out on the battle map. It was a horrible, horrible slog. It was very not fun. So one time of doing that was enough to teach me that like 5th edition rules, no, you can't do that. So it's all narrative, right? Like you will take, you just roll with it. You will resolve it narratively. I don't know how else to describe it. They have armies and stuff, and you ask, what are you doing? And you just kind of, and you just handle it that way. You don't use game mechanics and rules. If you need game mechanics and rules for handling like mass army combats, then you're probably looking at getting some sort of third-party book that introduces a rule set for mass combat. So if you want to do it that way. I have no interest in doing mass combat. Like I'm playing D&D because I want to have like, a small group of players going into a dungeon, and everything's a dungeon, whether it's a castle or whatever, it doesn't matter. And that's the game I want to play. So I'm not super interested in mass combat personally. But if you like that, that's fine. I would just either do it narratively or find a rule set that gives you the rules you need to implement it, and I'm sure there are several of them out there. And I haven't used any, so I can't recommend anything. All right, more questions. Is Latkus? I don't know why it's glitchy. I am not dropping any frames at all. I'm clean. I've got a clean stream right here, so it might be on your end.
Blackwind, hello, welcome to the stream.
Dan Bear's down. He's down. Yeah, it's not the stream. I don't think it's the stream. Haven't done a druid voice? I don't know. What would a druid voice sound like? Paul, what do you think a druid voice would sound like? I have no idea. Bry Guy says, how do you handle PCs arguing with you about almost every ruling? For example, during session 0, the rogue wanted to have double proficiency in stealth from rogue class and criminal background. No. So this is the thing, like, PCs are players arguing with you. So I've dealt with a player that argued with me, and he's no longer a player. That's not why he's no longer a player, but I'm sure happy he's no longer a player, because him arguing with me over things did not make me happy. How did I deal with that? Honestly, with him, like, he did it, and it annoyed me, and I kind of put up with it in his case, I didn't give in to his crap though, because he did not have what I call a standard interpretation of the English language. Let's just put it that way. And so, let's make an absurd example to make a point. Fireball says it's a 20-foot radius. And then his interpretation would be, no, that's a 20-foot diameter. Or, I don't know, just something absurd. Or, you know what I mean? Or you could say, I don't know, I can't come up with examples on the fly, but he did not interpret things properly. Like, it is clearly not the intent of it. And yet he wanted to argue the point, you know what I mean? I don't know why he did that, but it was very, very annoying. So if I have, now, that was like several years ago. I think now I've probably matured a little bit and gotten to the point where like I've kind of analyzed internally that I do not like it when players want to argue the point. And here's the thing, like I mentioned a little bit ago in this stream, most rules discussions involve the table discussing something and talking it out, you know, and me listening to my players and seeing if we can come to an agreement that makes sense to everybody, you know. So it's not like I'm just sitting here handing out cold, hard rulings. I'm listening to people and trying to take what they say and come up with something that makes sense for everybody, you know what I mean? But sometimes players are just wrong, you know, and I do not let them win when they're wrong. I have one player right now that he is a min-maxer. He is a power gamer to the extreme, and he doesn't argue a whole lot. He'll try to fight his point a little bit, and then when I give my ruling, he's usually quiet about it. You know, I can tell he doesn't like it because he wanted me to allow him to do this thing that clearly is not what was intended, you know. or the spell will literally say that it can't do that, you know what I mean? But so anyway, I don't give in to them for sure. And if somebody were to continually, if I had that same player again who would continually, you know, want to argue a point and take up game time and stuff, then I would probably take him offline and talk with him now and be like, dude, this isn't going to work. Like, we can have a discussion and that's cool. But once I deliver a ruling, it has to end there. It has to end there. We're not going to take up a half hour to an hour arguing about a rule. Nobody came to this game to argue about rules. We came here to, like, I don't know, kill goblins and stuff. And nobody has fun when we're arguing about rules. So I would talk to a person like that now, and probably offline, away from people. And if he kept on doing it, you know, you got to make a choice. Are you going to put up with that crap? Are you going to let that bring your game down? Or are you going to get him out of there? You know, for me, it's an easy choice, you know. But it's a conversation. It's always a conversation. Almost all player problems are conversations. That was a long answer, long-winded answer. I've seen some people do like question and answers, and they give these like really short answers where it's like, boom, that's what you do. You know, I tend to like elaborate, perhaps too much. I don't know. I'm gonna make sure you get your money's worth. Actually, I don't think I'm getting paid. Am I getting paid? I'm not getting paid. Bry Guy, I answered that one. Sky Harpy. I'm gonna have to take these off too. These are getting. I have these on. I have these on so that I can hear if the followers come and do the alert thing. But I'm gonna take it off because they're starting to they're getting really hot and stuff. You know, so I'm gonna have to figure out a different way to do the sound because I need to be able to hear when the music comes on so that like I don't keep talking and you know and stuff. But at the same time, these things are uncomfortable, and I can't wear those that long. And I've only had them on for like 40 minutes, and they're coming off. Maybe I need a better headset that's more comfortable. I don't know. But they have come off. Sky Harpy says, my players have decided they want to rescue kobold slaves from mining gems for elven overlords. Elves are enslaving kobolds? Oh, that is cruel. Are they drow? Do you have a module I can borrow for information? I don't think so. No. I got nothing, dude. I have nothing like that. Sorry. Moose King. Question. Do you allow your players to use the persuasion skill against each other? No. No. No, no, no. No. It's basically a standard rule in my games that, you know, you don't use skill checks against another player. You know, we just don't do that. Like, we're not going to roll a persuasion and then you're going to roll an insight and all that kind of stuff. I consider that to be almost crossing over into player versus player territory, depending on the situation. But it's just a standard rule that players don't make checks against each other. Period of story. Oh, here we go. Oh, he tipped. He tipped. Oh, dude. Is there any music for that? I don't have any music set up for that. Cool. Thank you, buddy, for the tip. I appreciate that. Appreciate the $5 spot. I am getting paid. I just got paid. Haha. I'm no longer doing it for free. I only have music. I only have that stinger set up for when people follow me right now. I did not take the time to set custom stuff up for everything. Did I answer that question? I think I answered. So they have to role play it out. They absolutely have to role play it out. That's the answer. And then they can decide whatever they want. Like if the rogue is trying to convince. I mean, the players should be competent enough to role play that sort of thing out, right? And then not use out of character information. And if they can't do that, then that's a different problem altogether. More questions. Any more questions? I'm looking for questions. Any questions? This tweet from Crawford confirms. Okay, let's see. What does he say here? Let's open. Oh, hold on a second. Oh, it's opening Twitter up. It's opening Twitter. Woo. Oh, hey, I have a thing from Twitter. Okay, let's go over here and see what Jeremy Crawford says. Stand by. He says, so if you have 100 hit points or fewer, power word kill causes you to die. Notice that it doesn't say you drop to 0 hit points. That doesn't. Okay, it causes you to die. But does it cause the polymorphed bunny to die? Or does it cause you, the player, to die? See, that is not specific enough to really answer the question, right? So the question was, if a druid wild shapes into a wolf and then is targeted with power word kill, does the druid revert dead or alive? And Jeremy just says, if you have 100 points or fewer, power word kill causes you to die. Notice it doesn't say you drop to 0 hit points. But the problem is in polymorph, it says when you drop to 0 hit points or die, the spell goes away and you revert to your normal form. So this doesn't answer me the question. That is not a satisfying answer. I think he intends it to be you die, but I'm going to be honest with you, as a professional writer, as a technical writer is my day job, and a communicator, that does not answer the question satisfactorily for me. But I think his intent is to say that the druid probably dies. That'd be my guess, or the polymorphed spell, right? And actually, the context of Bobby the Barbarian's question. Let's go back over to it now. We're really digging into this. We are really digging into this issue in the stream tonight. The context of Bobby the Barbarian's question is if a druid wild shapes into a wolf, okay, which is different than being polymorphed into a wolf, right? So the context isn't even exactly what we're talking about. But I don't know. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer here. I think it's a little vague, it's vague. Vague. XP Low does live says, I'm just gonna call you XP, dude. XP. You're now XP. Actually, there's a dude, Philip. Philip is one of my dudes, one of my followers, and like his last name is for me unpronounceable, but it has some K's in it, and so I just call him Ketchup now. So he's Ketchup. And he's cool with that. I'm like, Philip, can I just call you Ketchup? He's like, yeah, just call me Ketchup. Somebody had a question. Speaking of being annoying, what do you think about players that Google builds and combos for no other purpose than to annoy the DM, such as polymorph kill? I don't care. They can Google it all they want. Here's the deal. Like, we're not going to sit at a game session and talk about that crap, right? When I'm running a game, we're playing D&D. We're running a game. We do not pause our game to have like theoretical discussions about polymorph and polyword kill. We're playing the adventure. We're having fun. We're not goofing around at the game table. If a player wants to theorize this stuff and send me emails about it later, that's a different story. And if I have time, I'll engage with him and we can talk about it. But we're not going to waste game time theorizing stuff about like that. You know what I mean? Before the game starts, in the 5 or so, I have a set game time. If we all we're people that are there before then, yeah, we'll bullcrap about that, right? But once we get into the game, we're not going to have a huge discussion about theory junk. You know what I'm saying? So. And I don't mind players asking me that sort of stuff. It doesn't annoy me, right? It's just during the game is not the time for that. We're playing the game, not having a big discussion about it. Question: do you have any plans to do a Patreon or Discord D&D campaign? Yes, actually, you guys, one of my Patreon tiers is to run D&D with me, to play D&D with me. We currently have we had 4 patrons. Once we have 5 patrons at the Ancient Dragon tier, there's a link to my Patreon down in the panel, down below, by the way. But once we have 5 Ancient Dragon patrons, then we will be playing D&D together. We had 4. One of them left temporarily. I'm down to 3. He might be coming back. I don't know. We'll find out. But once we get 5, we're playing D&D. And that'll be twice a month on Wednesday nights. So there are details on my Patreon page about that. But yes, that is a thing. And it's getting close to starting as well. Yeah. Costs you a pretty penny, though. It's not going to be cheap if you want me to do that, but it is available for you. Let's see. Did I miss the answer to my question? I don't know, Bry Guy. You might have. What did you ask? Oh, no, that was Sky Harpy. I don't know. Sky Harpy, what was your question? Feel free to repost it. I might have already answered it. By the way, guys, this stream will go onto my second YouTube channel, the DM Layers streams, after the fact. So that if you want to watch it, I don't care. I don't know what the appeal is to watching a live stream after the fact, but whatever, it goes there. Oh, that's interesting. There are other tweets from Crawford. So DM Sky says there are other tweets from Crawford on the subject. All say the same thing. You die, which is how it should be. Power Word Kill is a 9th level spell. It should be able to power. Yeah, I mean, that's a very good point. Power Word Kill is a 9th level spell, right?
Hey, look at that, everybody. There's a new follower.
Music.
Let's go stab him in the back then.
If only our rogue wouldn't kill our followers.
So that's the problem. That is the problem when I can't hear the volume, and I got to figure this out. There's got to be a way for me to be able to hear the volume from the music and junk when someone follows, but not have to wear these stupid headsets or anything, because if I just if I have the volume on my system, then the problem is that it's gonna my Yeti up here is gonna pick it up, and you're gonna get some crazy endless loop reverb crap. How to D&D? What up, dude? Welcome to the stream, buddy boy. I'm a bunch of buddy boy. He's probably a mature adult, and I'm just buddy boy. Sorry, man. I'm just things come out of my mouth. Yeah. When you have a big mouth, that happens. Things come out. I'm back in the chat a little bit. I'm trying to dig through. I'm a little bit back in the chat. It's not delayed. The stream is not delayed, hopefully, but I'm back in the chat looking for questions and stuff. Make sure I didn't miss anything. Applebee's. I hate Applebee's. Okay, here's an Applebee's story. This is not D&D related, although D&D makes me hungry. So my family, I got a gift card from my work, where the place I work. I got a gift card to Applebee's. It was a $25 gift card. I'm like, okay, that's cool. So my family, my wife, my daughter, and I go to Applebee's. I'm like, this is good. $25. I'll probably end up paying a little bit more than that or whatever, but we're going to get some free food. Mostly free food. So Applebee's, they give us our food, and I'm mind blown by how small the portion was. Now, I mean, yeah, I like to have a massive slab of food, right? But if you give me something reasonable, I'm not going to throw a fit about it. But the portion was insanely small. It was not even the size of my palm of my hand of food. It was just so, it might have been about the size of the palm of my hand, but it was laughably small. The portion they gave my wife and my daughter, laughably small. It was insanely small. And it was normal prices for food, $10 to $15 a plate. And it was what the heck is this? Literally, I kid you not, there was a Meijer, which is equivalent to it's a grocery store up where I live. You may not have Meijers where you live, but it's a grocery store. There was one of these grocery stores right next to Applebee's. We ate at Applebee's. We drove to Meijer. We bought a sub. We went home and we ate the sub. That's how little food there was. It was insane. So I'm an anti-sponsor of Applebee's. Anti-sponsor. All right. How would you TPK a party with a Tarrasque? All right. Is Latkus and everybody else just joining us? If you have a question, make sure you do hashtag question in all caps so that I see it. Otherwise, I might not find your question. How do I TPK them with a Tarrasque? I don't mean just throw the Tarrasque in there. The thing to remember with the Tarrasque is don't be lame, right? A Tarrasque can rip things out of the ground and throw them at players. Rip trees out, rip houses out, and just throw these things. The reason I mention this is that a typical strategy to deal with a Tarrasque is to fly, because a Tarrasque can't fly, right? So you just fly above him, you ping him until he dies. But a Tarrasque is going to be ripping stuff out of the ground. If the Tarrasque has a burrow speed, it's going to burrow. I mean, he could just rip out chunks of ground, with rocks in it and stuff, and just dirt and rocks, just hurling it at people. I would say that I would just give a Trask kind of like a Hulk jump. You know how the Incredible Hulk can just do these massive jumps? I would say the Trask can do a Hulk jump type of thing. So if you have a flying wizard or something, you know what I mean? You gotta. I think I would probably give the Trask a little something.
Let's go stab
Because
him
at
in
level
the back
20,
then.
when players are likely to
If
encounter a
only
Trask,
our rogue wouldn't kill our followers.
there you go. I think I got my first part got cut off. You guys may notice that I don't know how to dance. I'm just doing crap. Trask, I would give Trask a Hulk jump type of thing, and make sure you throw stuff at the party, rip stuff out of the ground and stuff. That's how to make a Trask more challenging. If you just have him sit on the ground and get pinged to death by spells and arrows, that's lame. It's a Trask. It should be crazy hard. What else we got going on here? Everybody's still talking about the polymorph and power word kill thing. That's awesome. Wow. It kills the druid. Kill the druid. Oh, that's right. I forgot. So one of our subscribers, the one previous to the one right now, I can't even pronounce your name, dude. It's like 3GN, 2FB, F2B, 2RB, T2B. Thank you for following us. And then Arnok, thanks for following, buddy. Let's see. Death Ray Chicken Nuggets, what's up, dude? I remember you from one of our streams. I don't know if it was the last one of them before, but I remember you, buddy. Death Ray Chicken Nuggets. Oh, chicken nuggets. I haven't had chicken nuggets in a long time. I may have said the exact same thing the last time I saw your name in the stream. I don't know, but whew, it sounds good. Chicken nuggets. The problem with chicken nuggets, of course, well, I think they're getting better. I think they're not like if you get the ones that's basically like chicken bones and cartilage all kind of ground up, you know, and like molded together, those chicken nuggets obviously are, no person should be eating those. Yeah, Death Ray, I got that follower jingle. I did it after, not the last stream, not Wednesday's miniature painting, but the one before that. I hooked that up. I just did a little voice recording and stuff like that. So, just a little light audio work, not a big deal. It took me like a half an hour to throw that together. Since I can do my own voices.
I can do my own voices. I have talent. Yeah.
There's a question. That's a long question, XP Low Does Live. Uh-oh. Oh, here we go. One of my players wants to ride a dragon at some point on the dragon egg they stole. I hope they can live long enough, and I hope your campaign lasts that long for the dragon egg to mature, to be big enough for them to ride. Just throwing that out there. But, question. I'll keep reading. I know the dragon will not hatch past Wormling for the course of the Tyrion Dragons campaign. Oh, look at that. See? Like he's like, Luke, before you answer my question, how about you finish reading my question? Like, loser. That's me, not you. That's me. I know the dragon will not hatch past the way I already read that part. But he seems to have this whole thing about keeping it as a pet, but it's a blue dragon, so lawful evil, not sure how to deal with it without disappointing the player. Dude, like, it's a lawful evil dragon. You know what I mean? He's not going to be able to ride it. It's not going to mature in time. You know, like, if he's disappointed, that's because his expectations are wrong. You know, I mean, you just got to say, look, dude, it's a dragon. It's gonna be a little wormling. It's gonna be size. What's a wormling? Small. It's gonna be size small. You're not gonna be able to ride it. And then they're actually, if you look at the monster manual, I'm sure in here there is a maturity graph that shows how old it has to be. Actually, we could probably just look at the dragons. I have the monster manual in front of my face. We can probably look at the dragons. He's gonna be disappointed. You can't avoid that. And that's not your fault. Don't cater to him. Don't change stuff just because he has it in his mind that this is going to work somehow. It wouldn't work unless you're just, changing junk. So basically, a wormling is a medium size, and it's under 5 years. So the wormling is under 5 years old. Most games, like in-game time, don't even last a year, right? So it'll never get past wormling, and it's a medium-sized creature. So a medium-sized character can't ride a mount that's medium-sized. It won't work. After 6 years, it's large, right? But you still have the problem. of dealing with a creature that is intelligent, fairly intelligent, at least as intelligent as a human, and then is going to get more intelligent as it ages, and is evil. It's nature is evil, so he would have to keep that happy and keep it tamed and not have it revolt against him. And I'm going to wager a guess that dragons do not take lightly to being held captive. I'm going to just throw that out there. So that black dragon is probably not going to like the fact that this dude's holding him hostage
everybody.
and then trying to get on his back and like
follower.
ride him
Let's
around.
go stab him in the
Throwing
back
that out
then.
there.
If
I don't know.
only our
It lacked
rogue
us.
wouldn't kill our followers.
Islacus, what's the deal? I have to hear the sound. Islacus, like, dude, you've been on how many streams of mine? And you're only following me now? I'm just busting your chops, buddy. Don't worry about it. Yeah, those are my thoughts on that. I think you're gonna have to break his heart a little bit. He has unrealistic expectations of what is possible in the game. I mean, what are you gonna do? You can't just like change the physics and laws of your world to cater to his desires. You know what I mean? I think he's going to be disappointed. You know, it's just a matter of breaking it to him as softly as possible. So, cool. Moose King, I was like, I've got a Myers where I live, so what? Then I remembered we are basically neighbors. Where are you, Moose King? Moose, where are you? Like, if you don't mind telling the entire stream where you live. He's like, they're gonna hunt me down. I don't think I should tell anybody. You probably told me before, but like, my brain is mush, so that's my fault. Nurture over nature. Yeah, I mean, just or narrow. It does depend on how you look at alignments. Absolutely. If you think it's nurture over nature, then yeah. If you raise them to be good, possibly. But I'm pretty sure that there are animals that are raised in domestic like situations like lions and tigers and bears that are raised from little cubs up, and they'll still eat you. They're not like they're nice. They don't become domesticated immediately. You know what I mean? But a dragon is intelligent, so we're not talking with a beast intelligence. We're talking about a dragon. So it's possible. It's certainly possible. True. Islacus, I answered your question. Looking for more questions. Yeah, you gotta ask using hashtag all question caps. Otherwise, I miss them. Yeah, we need to shorten it down. I know. The stinger shall be shortened. That'll be like the first thing I do tomorrow morning after I wake up from like live stream hangover. Oh, okay, so that's Balon says that in lore, blue dragons are the nicest of the chromatic dragons. Okay, that's cool. I mean, if that's the case, then certainly a possibility that would work then. So. FH Huber, what up, dude? Welcome to the stream. He's like, I've been in the stream, dude. Discord. Luke is looking at the book again. What does he say? Justaro says, whenever Luke looks something up directly from the book, take a shot. What do you mean, take a shot? What does that mean? What are you saying? Take a shot. Shazar says mini painting goes in makers and crafting category. D&D viewers won't really look for it in D&D. Not to mention it's foolish to try to stream a D&D category on Thursday nights when Critical Role is streaming. I didn't stream on a Thursday night. And I don't care, by the way. I'll stream whenever I want. Critical Role. There are lots of people that don't watch Critical Role. I know. None of my players watch Critical Role. So I guarantee you that there's a large segment that don't watch Critical Role. But anyway, I don't stream on Thursdays anyway. I do Wednesdays. Well, for the mini painting. But that might actually change because my Patreon D&D group is probably going to be starting at some point on Wednesdays. So establishing a Wednesday stream is probably not a wise idea. Yeah, Moose King, the polymorph power word kill was directed toward wild shape. Yeah. More questions? Question. Do you mind if we make a drinking game out of your stream? I won't be drinking anything but coffee and water. I don't know. How do you turn the stream into a drinking game? I don't even know how that happens. I don't even know what that means or how you do that. Or Friday, really? So Shazdar says they switched their schedule for Critical Role at Gen Con. Like they're always going to be doing it on Fridays now? Is that how they do that? Monroe, Michigan. Oh, okay. I think I know where that is. Oh man, is Latkus like unsubscribed and then resubscribed just to hear the music again? Wow. Strahd! Hey, welcome back, Strahd. Strahd was in my mini painting stream on Wednesday. What up, dude? Totally off subject, but has anyone ever mentioned that you kind of look like Matt Hughes? You mean the wrestler, the UFC guy, Matt Hughes? Maybe. I can see I actually do like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu a little bit and that kind of stuff. Nah, I'm not very good at it. But I fiddle in that stuff. It's really fun. Matt Hughes was a wrestler anyway. He wasn't a BJJ guy, but cool. That's cool. Does he have cauliflowered ears? I don't know if my ears are not cauliflowered. My ears are so flappy and flexible that they would probably not get cauliflowered and stuff. But anyway, thank you. I cannot fight like Matt Hughes, I guarantee you. Moose King's like, come hunt me down and murder me. But end up not and become my friends. Oh, well, if you have like a bunch of nice good food and stuff like that, maybe. Murder me. Question. XP does live. Different topic to player problems. When building my game world for my upcoming campaign, I think I have made too many towns. Too many to be individual and be interesting. In any worlds you have made, how many towns per nation have you had? A rough estimate. I don't do any world building at all. I run Forgotten Realms. I just use what's in there. I might occasionally make up a village or something if they're going off the beaten track or something like that. But mostly I just use what's already pre-established. That said, in the games that I run, they might come into contact with 2 or 3 towns over the entire campaign, right? 2 or 3 towns. There's usually a main hub, which is Waterdeep in my case, and then there's another one called Rassalantar, which is prominently featured. Those are the 2 main ones. There aren't a lot more than that, right? If you have them gallivanting all over the place, going from town to town, then and you're homebrewing it, then I think it's probably an unreasonable expectation for you to come up with and build the details of every single town they go to if they're like gallivanting all over the place. Unless you have preparation, if you know in advance and stuff like that. But I try to build my campaigns, my games around a certain locale, right? And they're mostly in that locale. If they happen to have to travel somewhere else, then I have time in advance to prepare that, but you don't need to flesh out an entire town and that they're just going to pass through in one day and then be gone in much detail either. You can just do a quick little thing. You might even just ad-lib it on the fly if you know they're never going to be going back there, but I would keep the number small because the thing is that, like, in my opinion, as far as gameplay goes, I think my opinion is that, like, building out the world is like the least important thing. The adventures and the NPCs are far more important than the actual world that things take place in. The world is the backdrop. It's the things that happen back there. How many of you have been staring at my background the whole time? No, you're probably staring at me or the chat or something like that. That's what's actually going on. The adventure that's happening, the monsters that are attacking you, the dungeon that you're exploring, the NPC that you're talking to. Those are the things that are forefront in the players' minds during gameplay. The backdrop, the setting, the world, they'll encounter it a little bit. They might find a cool thing here and learn something different about your homebrew world, but I don't think that those, and I could be wrong, but I don't think that that's the most important thing for players. At least if you look at what gameplay focuses on, it's usually adventures and NPCs and, that sort of stuff, exploration and junk. So I would not spend a whole lot of time working on the world, You know what I mean? I mean, if time is a constraint, developing the world is like the least important thing in my opinion. My opinion. It could be wrong. I don't know. That's how I kind of prioritize it. So, Yeah, XP's like, I'm a YouTube only Critical Role fan. I've watched a couple of their things on YouTube. I don't do it live. I mean, they broadcast when I'm supposed to be in bed when they go live. I mean, they're doing it like on California time or something like that. You know, it's like, dude, like the East Coast, like we're going to bed and getting ready for work the next day when you all are like, you know, going live. So I don't catch them live. I've watched a couple of their things on YouTube after the fact, you know, but I don't have time. I don't have time to watch like 3 or 4 hours of a D&D show. You know what I mean? So the golden chicken is back. Awesome. Do you lay golden eggs, Mr. Golden Chicken? Bry Guy says, question, how do I follow? I am part of your Discord and I only got Twitch because you posted your streaming. There should be, let me see. I don't know. How does he follow? I'm going to go to my channel. There should be a heart or something. If you're on your phone, there should be a heart toward the top of it. And I think if you hit that heart, you will be following. And if you are on a computer, there should be something up there as well for you to follow. I don't know. I'm kind of new to Twitch myself, in all honesty. Haven't been using it a whole ton.
Hey, look at that, everybody! There's a new follower!
Let's go stab him in the back then.
If only our robe wouldn't kill our followers.
My cat is like climbing the shelves up here. I don't think you can see it on the stream, but he's like right there jumping up on the shelves and stuff. Wow, that's awesome. Woo! All right. Bry Guy, thanks for following. All right, got more questions and junk? Every time Luke looks for a question, take a sip, not a shot. You'll be unconscious and drunk after 20. Oh, that's the drinking game. Okay. Every time I look for a question, or every time I look at my book or something. Yeah. I got a mind flare. I'm looking for more questions. Where are the questions? So Strahd says, what time zone will your Wednesday Patreon campaign happen? I'm out in Oregon, boonies. I mean, everything is based on Eastern time. So my live stream, my patron game will take place on Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern U.S. time. It'll be every other Wednesday at that time. I'm pretty sure that on my Patreon page it says that in the tier. If you look at the Ancient Dragon tier, it should tell you the time that it'll take place at. Is Latka, see you later, buddy? Autocorrect. Strahd got hit by autocorrect. He's like, later, Islam. He's like, oh, crap. He's supposed to say, I think you were trying to say, later is Latkus. Nice. That's cool. Yeah, if they go to a place, XP does live, if they go to a place for an extended period of time and you know that they're going to be there, then yeah, flesh it out a little bit. Make some interesting stuff there. Absolutely. I call it Hollywood flat GMing. You only build what the players see and the rest is just dressing. Yes, absolutely. Cat cam. Well, yeah, but the cat cam doesn't go up to the bookshelf. I mean, I could point it that way. He's where is that thing? He has actually moved now. I could probably show you some cats that are over here. You guys want to see some cats? All right, I'm just going to move the camera over here. Stand by. Well, there's a cat. There's Guapo. Is he Guapo? Guapo's like walking right there. There's some cats over here. Can you see that? Yeah, there you go. Got some cats. Got some cats over there. There's Squirty Pie. See? There you go. So, the one under the table, that was orange, and that's Squirty Pie on the box right there. So, there's your cat cam. All right, that's enough of that. All right, Jester Naro, see you later, buddy. Thanks for joining us. And we're getting to the end of the questions. You love my cats. I love my cats too. My cats are awesome. Orange, he's way over there. That's he habitually licks his belly. Like, we got him, what do you want to call it? We got him neutered, and they put like a little tattoo on a cat's belly when they get him neutered so they can tell that he's already been fixed. And when he came back from getting neutered, he became obsessive compulsive about licking his belly. So he is constantly licking his belly and his like paw, like his lower legs and stuff, and his entire belly is bald, totally bald from licking. And it looks hilarious because he will do this Buddha thing where he'll sit kind of on his butt like a human, and then his belly is like bulging out, and he's licking himself. And it's just like this big Buddha belly, this big bald Buddha belly. Oh my gosh, it's hilarious. We laugh at Orange's expense quite a bit. So there you go. Oh yeah, cats go bald from we didn't know what it was. We thought that something was wrong with him at first. Like, why is he losing all of his fur? But then I just noticed how much he licks himself. I'm like, okay, Orange has a obsessive compulsive licking disorder. Apparently, he was he was traumatized when they took away his stuff. What's the appropriate term for the stream for that? I don't know. See you later, Justnaro. Thanks for joining us, buddy. Appreciate the hangout. You can see the shadow of the cat. It's like this massive shadow behind me. XP Does Live says, what's your favorite introduction of a PC you've ever experienced? Need ideas for my new wizard character I will play. Favorite introduction of a PC you've ever experienced? I don't know. We don't tend to do like big elaborate introductions of PCs, in all honesty. Like, if the game's just starting up, everybody just, they explain how they know each other and why they're together, and then if a new PC joins the game or something, then I don't know, we usually just get them into there as quickly as possible. But there's never been anything like super like dramatic about like a new PC coming in. It's usually, there's no fanfare. It's just like, oh, here his old character died, here's his new character, here we go, let's roll, and then we play the game. So I think I've had players try to like hype it up a little bit, but it's not, I don't remember what it was, so it apparently wasn't very memorable. So sorry, I have nothing for you. Nothing. And then another question. He's got lots of questions. That's cool. Any more questions? Because we're getting to the bottom of the questions. We're getting very low on questions. And when the questions are gone, then I don't know, I'll just start doing stupid stuff. How would you go about creating a horror adventure setting? And a setting? An entire setting? I don't think I would. I would go buy one. Like, if I needed a horror adventure setting, I'd buy one. I've never created a horror adventure setting before. I think I'd be pretty bad at it. I would probably read the Curse of Strahd module and steal stuff from that. I would probably get other adventure horror settings and then read them, kind of get immersed in them, and then create things that I can extrapolate from there. Or I would read horror books and extrapolate things from there. I would probably read other horror stuff and steal ideas to inspire me. That's how I would go about doing it. Because I've never done it before. And so that means I'd have to go learn how to do that and then make something up that seemed to make sense to me. So that's how I would do it. Yeah, he's carrying the team. XP Does Live is carrying the team. He's the only one asking the questions. All right, Moose King had to go AFK for a moment, but he has returned now. All right, welcome back, man. Did you tell us you were going AFK, or did you just like shadow AFK? Like just you left without telling us? Really, dude? You can't just walk away. You got to let us know. You know what? You need to get a hall pass before you just like walk out of the room, dude, to do stuff. All right, let's get up with the program here, right? Whew. Man, we gotta make this one of the chat rules. We're gonna have to modify the chat rules panel. There's no like shadow AFKing or ninja AFKing, right? Gotta tell us. Where we at? Danke schön. Okay, DM Sky says, how do I get my players to actually make use of the NPCs? Use the NPCs' resources, etc. My players tend to just ignore their NPCs after the initial meeting. Well, you got to remind them of them. Like, if the NPCs actually have information that can be of use to them, or they have resources and stuff, then I would just remind them every so often. Oh, wait, hold on. I have a cat cam moment. Stand by. I have two cats that are killing each other. Well, they're about to kill each other. Well, they just disengaged. I think they took a disengage action, everybody. So that cat right there is mommy. You can't see my hand. They were about to kill each other, and then they disengaged. Hold on. There are the two cats in question. I think they're taking a break. Kitties, roll initiative. I heard a cat hiss behind me. I'm pretty sure, let me see. This one is Guapo, because es muy guapo. Así que su nombre es Guapo. And this one right here is Mommy. And we call her Mommy because we ran out of names for our cats. We have lots of cats. And so she was the mom of them all, and she became the mom. So what are you going to do? This is what happens when I don't get enough questions. We start looking at my cat cam, and we start talking about my cats. So just, there you go. I will revert to the cat cam if they indeed figure out their initiative rules. I think they're having a hard time rolling initiative. So we'll see how that goes. I think I was in the middle of answering a question. The NPCs, I'd remind them. I'd be overt about it. If they're forgetting about the NPCs, you might just make a gentle reminding. Hey guys, you have this problem or issue that you're trying to resolve. Have you considered reaching out to some of your contacts? And I would even, when you have NPCs that they make friends with that have resources and stuff, when you're role playing the NPC, I would tell them, hey, I have these resources at my disposal. You got to be kind of clear about it, because I think make it overt to the players a little bit, and give them reminders, because players might not think of your NPCs because they just maybe they assume that they're not allowed to use NPC resources. Maybe they can only use their own resources. So part of it could be setting expectations. I would give gentle reminders and stuff if there is an NPC that they can use. Yeah, that's how I would do it, I think. How do you find players to play in your games? Do they come to you, or do you find them? I find them. I actively find players for my games. This is actually very, very necessary if you want to start up a D&D game and then keep a D&D game going for a long period of time. You need to be able to find players, because what invariably happens, I will answer your question about how I find players after I get off my tangent that's related to players. Let's say you have 4 players, right? You'll play for 3 or 4 or 5 months, and invariably one of the players has some sort of real life thing that comes up, or moves away, or is doing something, and he has to leave. Okay? And we still have 3 players. We can keep playing. Let's just keep playing, right? And then same thing happens. A player goes away. This is getting dangerous, right? Which finger am I going to put down next? Invariably, another player, something happens or whatever, blah, 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 who cares? You got 2 players. If that pattern continues, eventually you have 0 players. And so as your players have to move or they drop out or whatever, blah, 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 whatever, you got to be replacing them. If you don't constantly have more players, that you're pulling into your group will slowly attrition and die, right? So the way that I do it, I have two methods that have worked really, really well for me, for my games. The first one, most of my original players when I first started DMing 5th edition a few years ago were from Reddit. There is a LFG in Reddit, and you can go and you can post the information about your game where you meet, that it's in person. My games are all in person, all physically at a table. And, I got a bunch of players off Reddit, and then we started playing that way. Now I get most of my games from just hanging up posters at game shops. I live in a fairly decent sized metropolitan area or something. And so there are 1, 2, 3, there were 4 game shops in my area. I heard that one of them is closed now, which is probably not abnormal. Game shops usually don't make a lot of money. So now there are 3. But basically, I make a poster, and I literally just like post it up. Usually a game shop will have some sort of board or something. I'll go in with my poster that has the information about how to contact me about a game, and it'll have my email and crap on it. And I walk into the game shop, I talk to the dude at the desk, I'm like, hey, I'm looking for players. Is there a place I can post this? And all of them have told me, yep, there's the board. Yep, just go put it there, or I'll take it and I'll put it up for you. And once that's up there, I have a steady stream of people that begin emailing me that want to play games. And I would assemble a group. Right now, currently, I have the groups. I don't have a lack of players. And what I do have is I have on-call players who will fill in for regular players when they can't play, which actually works super well because I have my standard complement is 5 players. Okay, if one player can't play, I reach out to my on-call group, and one of them is available, comes in and plays for that one game session, and that player comes back. The on-call goes back over here. Okay, and I have 2 different groups that I use this on-call pool for, and they come in and they stand in for normal players. The advantages to this is that I almost always have 5 people in my games, which helps for me balancing my encounters and stuff. The other advantage is that these 3 people, let's just say there are 3 people on my on-call list, they're constantly cycling in and playing for players. I get to know them. The players get to know them. They get to know us. And then, when one of my players can't play anymore, moves away, or whatever, we know 3 players, and the group and me can decide which player we want to invite to come join that vacant spot. And that is key, because if you just invite a total stranger to play, you don't know what you're going to get, right? You might need to do a trial period or something like that, because he could be a total jerk, a Wainrod. Or he could be a perfectly fine human being, but just not be a good fit for your gaming group. And if that's the case, that's not going to work, right? So the on-call system is super, super effective. Keeps my groups full, and I can fill my groups with players that I know that have played with me before, and so, yeah. So that was a tangent. I think I answered your question, though. I think I told you how I get my players. Game shop posters is the best method I've had so far. Reddit is also fairly good. There are other ways that I've heard people talk about. I actually have a video. There is a video on my YouTube channel. It names off 7 different ways, I think, to find players. One way to find players that just occurred to me too, it's in my video, but is Adventures League. Find a local game shop, go to some Adventures League games as a player, meet some of the other players, get a feel for who they are, and if you're trying to find players, you might reach out to some of them after a game or something and say, hey, you know what, I'm actually going to start my own game. My own game, not Adventures League, but apart from Adventures League, and I think you're a pretty cool player, would you like to join us? And you might just kind of like cherry pick some folks from there that want to play on your own home game. So there's another idea too. Steal players from Adventures League. There you go. All right, we probably got more questions here. That was a long-winded answer to that question, but hopefully there was some useful information there. I got that one. Panda has he just vanished. Moose King just vanished. He's gone. He's gone. What has been your favorite adventure you have written? Oh, now you're gonna make me think, dude. Well, let's go find out. Let's find out, shall we? Stand by. Let me get my desktop going here. We're gonna browse. We're gonna just take a stroll through all of the adventures that I have created together, and we shall see which ones I think I like. So this is my Sword Coast Guard campaign, my main quest arc, and you guys can see these are all adventures that I don't know how well you can see this. These probably are not super visible. I don't know how to enlarge these. I don't think I can zoom in on this. But Gauntlet Hall, A Mean Den, The Witches. Ooh, the Green Hags. That was a really cool one with Granny Titchwillow. Granny Titchwillow is another famous NPC of mine. Granny Titchwillow showed up in my Sword Coast Guard campaign and also in some conventions that I ran games at. The Siege on Gauntlet Hall, that's cool. The Velvet Fist was a cool one. The Temple of the White Hand. Those were all really fun. I don't know if those are my favorite ones. Let's go over to standby. D&D. Hand of Light. The Hand of Light was one. Ooh, Mephistopheles in the Map was a cool adventure. That was an awesome adventure. Some story arcs, the main quest line. Yadro the Grim, the Black Viper. None of these is jumping. Oh, Prisoners of the Drow. That was actually a cool one. I liked that one a lot. They had to, who was it? Somebody was captured. They had to rescue some prisoners from some drow. And then oh, that's right. Okay, I'm gonna make my screen bigger. This was actually pretty cool. So one of my players had a bunch of family members that, like, their village had basically been attacked and raided, and she and her family members were all like transported away as slaves, and she escaped and stuff. But a lot of her family members were like slaves or something somewhere, and she was trying to track them down and find them to reunite them. And it turns out that like her family members had ended up in the hands of some dark elves, some drow, and they had to go try to rescue her family members. They ended up going into this drow compound, and they weren't there. They had to take a portal in that compound to the Underdark, to a drow city in the Underdark, and then they had to like infiltrate that base and rescue her sisters. That was a really cool like 2-part adventure. So that was really good. Coincidentally, because I liked it so much, I actually published that adventure over on DriveThruRPG as well. I think there's a link in the panel to that. But that was definitely a favorite adventure of mine, which is probably why I published it, because I thought it was pretty cool. So I think I'm going to settle on that one. That was pretty memorable. There were some really cool things that happened in that adventure. So that's my answer. Time to move on. Hi JD says, I love DMing. However, oftentimes I lack motivation or drive to work on it. Do you have any ideas on how to deal with that? Panic. The panic monster. The panic monster. I mean, you got to start a game up. Start a game up, get a group going, set a time and a date to play, and you have a deadline. You have a deadline, and you got to run a game, which means you got to get your butt in gear, and you got to create adventures, and you have to be ready for your game. So that's what I mean by the panic monster. You know, you get that stuff in place with that deadline looming, and then as you approach it, the panic monster is going to kick in, and you're going to start creating something for that game, to run that game. And so that's how I would do that, if that's a problem for you, you know. And if you get to the game day and you haven't prepared anything and you got nothing, and even the panic monster doesn't motivate you, then I don't know that I have anything. I have found, actually, I think I do have something for you. I have found that myself personally, if I'm just sitting around chilling, doing like whatever, I might have zero motivation to start preparing for a game. And what I do is I tell myself, you know what, Luke, don't worry about that. Let's just open up the adventure module you're running, or let's just open up the Word document. Let's just look at the map. I psychologically trick myself, and I say, like, you're not actually going to do any prep, Luke. You're just going to, like, open up and start looking at it. That's all you're going to do. And once I start the path of looking at it, that tends to inspire me and get me going. In other words, once I actually start doing it, like, I'm inspired more and I get into the groove and then I do it. But it can be difficult to get started. And so I use like dumb psychological tricks on myself to just get me started. You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to actually do any campaign prep, Luke. You're just going to look at the map. And then once I start doing that, the escalation happens. So I don't know if that's helpful. I know that for me personally, I have noticed that though. So there you go. Take that as you will. You guys hear that? He needs attention. He's rubbing against my legs, grouching. Sherry says, as a very new dungeon master, how can you tell if the players are enjoying themselves without flat out asking? You observe them. You pay attention to them. Reading the table is a very important dungeon master skill, not only for telling if your players are enjoying themselves, but for other reasons as well. But just observe them, pay attention. If your players are sitting there like this, as stuff is going on, they're kind of slouched on their phones, and then you ask them a question, and they're like, well, what's going on? They're disengaged. They're not paying attention to the game. You know what I mean? They're in that moment, they're not they're not enjoying that game. They can't be. They're on their phones, they're not paying attention. If you're enjoying something, you're not on your phone goofing off playing whatever game you happen to be playing. So if they're paying attention to the game or not is an indication of engagement, and if they're enjoying themselves or not. If they start to disengage and not pay attention anymore, that's a clue that they're not enjoying themselves. Look at their faces. Are they laughing? Are they smiling? Are they very serious and grim? But you got to know their personalities. If I'm a very like upbeat, joking sort of guy, and I'm loudmouthed and blah 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 whatever. So if you're my dungeon master and you see Luke getting really quiet and non-expressive and stuff, then you know that something happened and I'm not enjoying myself. But if that's my normal self, then that doesn't tell you a whole lot. You know what I mean? So you got to know your players. You got to observe them, read their body language, see how much they're engaging, if they're laughing, if they're smiling. But part of this is like, it's a soft skill. It's like a people skill too. But it has to do with observing people and just kind of learning how to read them. You know what I mean? But that's the way to do it. I never ask my players if they had fun. Never. It's a loaded question, and you'll almost always get the response, yes, I had fun. But it's meaningless. It's meaningless. So I never ask them. It's pointless. What I do ask my players is periodically I'll ask them for feedback. I will say, okay, guys, we're going to do some feedback right here. What I want to go around the table. I would like everyone to tell me at least one thing that they enjoy about my games, and I want you to tell me one thing that you don't enjoy that I could improve, okay? And then we go around the table, and everybody gives one thing they like and one thing they don't like that we could improve, okay? And this is great because it tells you the things you're doing well, keep doing those things. And the thing you're not doing well, get better at that. It's super, super useful. I've done this at least a few times with I think all my groups, yeah. And you get really good feedback, and it helps you to improve as a dungeon master, But you got to ask them specifically. Very few players are actually going to come to you and say, Luke, this thing about your game, I don't like it. I think you can get better at it. They won't tell you that unless you ask them. What they'll just do is they'll slowly get less and less engaged in your game, and then one day you're going to get an email that says, hey, Luke, I'm not interested in playing anymore. And that's what happens. So I encourage proactively asking them for feedback. That was a long answer to a question. I hope that was helpful a little bit, Sherry. Bry Guy's like, it's dangerous to go alone. Take this hall pass. Well, some hall passes are like big, huge paddles with chains on them. So they can double as a weapon for sure, Yeah, I'm just busting your chops, Moose King, about leaving without saying anything. You can AFK all day long without telling me. It's just messing with you, dude. That's just how I am. Sorry. Sherry says, I already answered that question. Let's go to the next one. Strahd says, if you ever want to just mess with your characters, do you have a favorite? What, to mess with? Probably. There are probably certain characters that I mess with more, but I try to spread the love, you know? I don't want to feel like, I don't want any of my players to feel, I don't want them to feel like I am having a favorite or having an unfavorite. Like I'm always messing with a certain character. Unless I know that player can take it good-naturedly and stuff, you know what I mean? But I try to spread the love out. I don't want people to feel like they're favorites. I don't know how successful I am in that, in all honesty. Because everybody's going to have favorite players. And everybody's going to have players that you're like, dude, you know what I mean? So like it's going to happen. And it's going to be hard not to play favorites. But as long as you do your best and have that forefront in your mind, then I think that's all you can do. The favorite merchant I've ever ran. I actually remember exactly my favorite merchant. So I had this voice for my favorite merchant. Let us see. Was it this voice like this? All right. No, it wasn't that voice. It wasn't that voice. All right, we make a deal here. I sell you this, you sell me that. How about this? How about I give you this trinket and you give me a gold piece in exchange? Yes, we make a deal here. No, that's still not the voice I used. I was doing a different voice for it. But I remember this merchant, not because of the voice, but the merchant was kind of doing this like hard negotiation with the player, and it turned into this awesome, memorable scene where they were like negotiating over something. I don't even remember what they were negotiating over, but it was lots of fun. Lots and lots of fun. So I remember that game. I remember the player. Her name was Anna, that we were having this negotiation with, and it was lots of fun. So I remember that merchant. I don't think I'm doing a very good job of explaining the merchant, and some of the details are fuzzy to me because this was like about 3 or 4 years ago. But that was cool. You're gonna have to trust me on that. Kitties roll initiative. Yeah. Well, this cat right down here is just rubbing against my leg. Want to join? No, I can't join any games. I cannot join any games. I am strapped. I have no time. I'm like, time is at a premium. I have 0 time for all the crazy things I need to get done. So I'm not playing any D&D games. Gotta get that plug. Meetup.com. I have heard good things about Meetup.com. I've not used it personally, but I've heard good things about it. So it's definitely worth giving it a shot. What's a wang rod? A wang rod is like a jerk. Basically, it's a way of saying jerk. I'm glad I could help. Hi, JD. Good advice. Thank you. You're very welcome. Hey, look at that emoji. Pixel Bob emoji. All right, another question. I need more coffee. I'm gonna throw the cat cam out. I don't think there's any cats over here. There's no cats. I'm gonna get coffee though. Maybe the cat will follow me. This will take 2 seconds. Yeah, I was right. He's following me. He's just following me. Here he comes again. Here he comes. He's gonna come rub against my leg. All right, enough with that silly business. All right, getting low. Hi, JD says, I have another issue about me DMing. I would love to go the route of improv and having your PCs control the story. However, I suck at it and end up sadly doing a little bit of railroading. How do you go about improving on this? It depends on how. How are you defining railroading? Because this is the way I dungeon master. Like, I create an adventure, right? The adventure is, let's just say there is a dungeon here. And the adventure is I'm making stuff up on the fly, and it's probably not going to be well done. But that's what you get when you make me make up examples on the fly. There's a dungeon. There is a wizard in the dungeon. Your job is to defeat the wizard and get his spell book because somebody is paying you to get his spell book. Okay, that's the adventure. Okay, that is the mission that your group needs to complete. That is what is before you. The social contract between Dungeon Master and players is that I create an adventure, you guys go on the adventure. That is not railroading. That is not railroading. Okay, because if you create that situation and then your players have the freedom to go about solving that problem in any way that they see fit, which might be negotiating the way past the dungeon, making a deal with the kobold tribe so that they help you, okay? And then tricking the wizard, maybe convincing the wizard to lend you his spellbook or something. As long as there is freedom, I don't know if that's feasible, but as long as your players have the freedom to complete that adventure however they want, then that's not railroading. That is not railroading. Railroading is when they say, we're going to go around the back or something and then sneak over the walls, and you're like, well, no, you can't do that. There are sentries and stuff. The only way to go into the castle is through the front gates. You have to go in through the front, or the only way to get into the castle is through the sewers. That's the only way to do it. And then you're constantly, every idea they have for getting to that castle, you're blocking it. And you are making them go through the sewers to get into that castle. And then as they go through the compound, there's only one way to get through the compound. There's only one right way to do it. And you have to do these certain things, and you're blocking them. You know what I mean? That's railroading. Okay? That's more of what railroading is. Railroading is not having a certain adventure for them to play. That's how most games do it, I think. The idea of D&D being this thing where like the players have no guidelines at all, there are no adventures for them to go on, and they just kind of like wander the world and do whatever, and the dungeon master doesn't prepare anything in advance, that's hard to do. Like, that's very hard to do effectively. Like, I've been dungeon mastering for a while, and like, I wouldn't want to do that. That's a lot of pressure on me to invent things on the fly and hope that they're good and that they're fun. If I take time before the game, I'm pretty confident in my ability to create an adventure my players are going to have fun with. You know, if I ad-lib stuff on the fly, my confidence goes way down. The game is not going to be as fun. I do it. If my players go off and do crazy stuff, I'll go along with it for a little bit. You know what I mean? And I'll make stuff up. I've done it before. But that's not how the entire campaign goes out. And I've told my players just straight up, you know, part of the social contract is like, I make an adventure, you guys play it. If you guys just want to go wander off and do things and do whatever, then the way this is going to work is that the quality of the game will go from here, from me preparing cool adventures, and it'll go down way down to here of me making stuff up on the fly. Okay? The quality of the game will decrease if we're going to play it that way. All right? And so far, all my players are perfectly fine with just going on the adventures I plan for them. That said, I a lot of times have 2 or 3 different things they might be able to do. I only plan one of them. But I allude to maybe a couple other things. And if they choose those things, I might have to make up a little bit of stuff on the fly. Usually my players choose the one that I had planned on. I don't know if I'm just good at giving them hooks or nudging them in the right direction. I don't know. But there is some theory for you about railroading and sandboxing and preparing or not preparing. That's just the way I do it. Those are my thoughts on the issue. I could be dead wrong. I don't know. Cats are good at detecting ghosts. Okay, so Hi JD says my definition of railroading was incorrect then. However, I was more referring to if they decide not to go on the adventure that I'd laid out. Also, I actually have 2 DMs that don't really prepare anything and go with the flow, and they're really good. Yeah, you could be. I mean, they could just be really good at it. Some people are really good at that sort of thing. The other, I also wonder too, like, if you only know what a certain food tastes like, but you've never tried other foods, you might think that that certain food is pretty good. But if you've never tried other foods prepared well, you don't have anything to compare them with, right? So like I have always wanted to play I've always wanted to play a D&D game with a dungeon master who doesn't prepare anything, to experience what that's like. Because when I've been a player before, the dungeon masters have always prepared the game in advance, right? I would love to play some games with DMs who totally wing it and see how that is, to see if it's as satisfying as a game that's fully prepared. I don't know, you know what I mean? It's a different game experience. I have no idea. I'd like to see it implemented though, to kind of do that like firsthand comparison, you know. But anyway, if everybody's having fun, then rock on. All right, I'm at the end of the questions in the stream. I'm gonna pull out my phone. There were some people that asked questions on YouTube. I want to see if I can get these answers for them. Feel free to throw more questions in the stream as well, obviously. But I'm gonna find my stuff here on YouTube because folks had some questions that I wanted to make sure I answered for them.
La la la.
Wiggles says, can you do some puzzle creations? No, not right now. Not in this stream. And I'm actually very bad at making puzzles. Very, very bad at making puzzles. I don't think we may never do a puzzle creation stream. I'm very bad at that. Critical Role is Friday this week. Is it just this week that Critical Role is on Friday? I don't know. I don't follow their stuff. So Elena says, I got invited to DM a campaign over Discord. It was last minute, so it's a homebrew campaign. All of us are somewhat new to the game, and I don't think my players have played before. Any suggestions on story planning or how to get new people excited about the world of D&D? My only suggestion is to prepare a fun and interesting game for them. You know, highlight a lot of the different things of D&D. Highlight the exploration components, highlight a little bit of mystery, highlight some cool monsters, highlight like a cool fight, highlight some sweet NPCs, maybe throw some cool voices out there, you know, show them the possibilities, show them, you know, that their imaginations are their only limits and stuff, allow them to do cool things, give them examples, encourage them to do cool things, you know, and just help them to see that. I don't know. That's my stuff off the cuff right there. Edward Bachetta says, what is the best way to DM really high-level gameplay in D&D? It seems like a slog with all the math crunchiness and can be difficult to design encounters that are challenging enough without putting 3 purple worms in front of them. Yeah, high-level, this is interesting. 5th edition high-level gameplay is very hard. It's very hard for the dungeon master to design things and balance things. The challenge rating breaks down almost completely after 8th level or so, and you have to play things by ear and adjust things on the fly. You can build one encounter that's hard, and the players just breeze through it. You can build another encounter that's hard, and the players struggle with it, and maybe even it's going to be a TPK. It's really hard to balance that. So, combats can take a lot longer. So it's very important to keep combats going quickly. I have a video about different ways to speed up combat in D&D. I would check that out. Don't let your players take forever to make up their minds on their turn is the basic thing. So a lot of it, I mean, honestly, the best way to run a high-level D&D campaign is to run your group from like low levels and let them work toward high level, because as you're leveling up from like level 1 or 5 up to level 20, you're going to be learning a lot of things along the way, which is going to prepare you to run that high level campaign. If you've never run high level campaigns before in 5th edition, and you know you just jump in and say everybody roll up level 20 characters, and you're going to run a campaign, and you've never gone from like 1 to 20, you might struggle, because running high level stuff is very different from running low level stuff. So those are thoughts on that. I'm reading stuff off YouTube. If you guys on the stream have any questions, throw them in the chat, and I'll answer those as well. So Dragon Heath says, how do I combat the solo player experience? Gaining extra players is out of the question. elaboration. He's having as a single player. He wants it to not feel like a Skyrim thing. If you have one player, so I'll speaking from experience. I had one player once before, and the way it was my daughter. We were playing a little home game, and the way I did it is I gave there were more PCs. There were 4 PCs. She ran 2 of them. I ran the other 2, and we had a full party and we played the game. So that's the way I did it for her. The thing is that, you know, Dungeons and Dragons is not balanced for just one player, so you'd have to figure some stuff out. You either lower the challenge of things, or you give them NPCs, or you have them run more than one player. I'm a fan of having, if you only have a couple players or one player, I kind of like having them run a couple different players or a couple different PCs. I like that idea. If my daughter, when she was 8 years old, could figure that out, then your players should probably be able to figure that out as well. Even though running a PC is much more complicated than running like a monster or something, a stat block. So that was your question, Panda? Panda's like, that was my question. Hi JD says, when I go back to college later this month, I'll be playing roughly 5 campaigns, each with their own DMing style. I actually like all of them. That's awesome, dude. Yeah. I don't think that it's interesting because different dungeon masters have different styles, and I think a lot of them are fun. I like my friend Matt ran some games for us. Those were tons of fun. My friend Joe runs really fun games. They all have different styles. It's not my style. You know what I mean? They're totally different, and they do things differently. And I think I appreciate different styles of dungeon mastering, and you can have fun in different types of games. A game that's like prepared way in advance, you know what I mean? A game that's ad-libbed on the fly. They can all be fun, and there are different elements that make those games fun. A lot of times the games that are ad-libbed on the fly, they're fun for different reasons, you know what I mean, than the game that's prepared in advance and that's very intricate and detailed, you know what I mean? So I think they're all can be very good, you know. I don't think that one is any given one is better than the other, and it's always going to depend upon. It depends not only on the dungeon master, but it depends on the players as well. You know. Riley says, "What is the best way to foreshadow the hidden big bad evil guy?" Have your players interact with his minions, and have his minions, like when they get interrogated, talk about him and give them information about him. But not a lot, just a little bit, and have them be very vague about it. Like, oh, nobody has ever seen Lord Paxton. Nobody knows what he looks like, you know. And then have them find letters from your big bad to his lieutenants. Like, if they just killed a mind flayer lieutenant, have them find a letter or 2 letters from your big bad written to that lieutenant, giving him instructions, you know. And so they keep finding references to the big bad. And letters, and the lieutenants will tell them things about them. People in the game world might talk about them, you know. So you just drop little hints there and there about Lord Paxton this and Lord Paxton that. And my players have heard about Lord Paxton so many times, they have no idea what he is. At this point, they do think that they think they know what he is. We'll just say that. So that's the answer to that. All right. I think that's all I had. That's all I had on YouTube, so it's up to you guys. Once we're out of questions, we're ending the stream. As a dungeon master and player, I'm not a big fan of riddles and puzzles. I don't like riddles and puzzles. I occasionally will throw a riddle or a puzzle into my games. Occasionally, which means like once or twice in a campaign. I just don't like them. I don't like making them and stuff. Yeah. Bry Guy says, he has a question. I have a small party. Is it a bad idea to create a PC as the DM to assist in combat? There are lots of pitfalls with it. I don't think it's bad. I think that it's difficult and challenging to execute that effectively. I think there are so many pitfalls to be careful of. But it's not bad. I've done it before. I've done it before when it was necessary, I felt, because I only had one player. I've done it before when it wasn't necessary, and that's a mistake. If you have enough players, then don't make a DMPC. There are too many ways it can go wrong. If you don't need it, don't do it. But if you've only got one player or two players, actually, if you have two players, they don't even need a DMPC. They could each just run one. That's better than you running a DMPC. But if you've got to do it, make sure that he is not the leader. Make sure that he's kind of stupid or something, so they can't just... If you're running a DMPC who is a wizard, who's very intelligent and stuff, you can easily get into a situation where the players are asking the PC what they should do, which is basically asking the Dungeon Master what they should do. And you never want to get in the situation where you're trying to like balance that sort of thing. It's just too difficult to manage. I would make the DMPC very stupid, very gullible, just kind of go along with things. Maybe give them false information. Maybe they can't trust him. Maybe he has bad judgment. You know what I mean? You don't want your DMPC to become the spotlight of the campaign by any means. The DMPC should take the back burner. The players and their characters are the focus and the spotlight. Your NPC or DMPC is there to just assist them a little bit in combat. That's it, right? Don't spend a lot of time role-playing that DMPC. They're not in the limelight. They're back here. Your players are in the spotlight, right? You don't want to overshadow your players and their PCs with your DMPC. So those are some thoughts on that. We could do a whole video on what are the pitfalls of a DMPC. That's actually a really good idea for a video. What are the pitfalls of a DMPC? You know, if you have to do it, what things you should avoid. So that's a really good idea for a video, actually. Pitfalls, yeah. Panda. If you made a custom class, how would you? I would look at an existing class and make something that seems balanced along with it. That's how I would. Technically speaking, that's how I would make it. If that's your question. If that's not your question, then clarify, please. I would look at other things that already exist and then copy those not the exact game mechanics, but the structure and the format, and brainstorm stuff, come up with something, and then I'd look at balance. My main complaint of third-party junk and homebrew junk is that it's almost never balanced. It's always way overpowered and unusable as is. So that's always my complaint about that stuff. Hi JD says one time one of his players did the Pythagorean theorem to see how far he would need to go instead of just asking me. That's awesome, man. My thingy bobber here. Saishin says, I'm running a D&D game set in Ravnica, and I want to try to incorporate the concept of cytoplasts. Cytoplasts are a biomechanical invention that can convey genetic information to and from living organisms. For example, a cytoplast taken from an intelligent person is put into a dumb person would make the dumb person more intelligent. Any suggestions on how I could incorporate cytoplasts into my Ravnica game? I don't know. Pick something. Have there be... I mean, this is like a crowdsourcing of ideas. You know, if you want to crowdsource different ideas for how you can incorporate that, the best way to do that is to go to like a D&D Facebook group. You ask that question, and you're going to get like 400 answers, and 90% of them will be stupid, and the other 10% will be reasonable. And I got another follower. Sky Harpy. I forgot to dance. You probably couldn't hear. Yeah, you probably couldn't hear anything I just said because of the music. So, crowdsource on Facebook. If you ask me the question, I'm going to give you one answer that may or may not be interesting. I would have an alien race that's not from that world, that has like a little bit higher technology or has some magical technology come, and they have these cytoplasts, and they introduce it to the world. And then maybe the players go into a compound controlled by them or something, and they run into it and then are introduced to it. So that's an idea. I don't know if that's a good idea, but that's an idea. You don't want to ask me for ideas on specific stuff like that. I like to focus more on like, how can I teach you a skill set that's going to help you do lots of different things as opposed to like just a single idea for a single specific thing. I'm very good at that. I'm probably just going to tell you to go to Facebook and ask people. Sorry. What are some ideas, Strahd? What are some ideas to encourage players to make character backstories without giving away free stuff? Make them. So this is how I do it. Actually, did I do that? Did I have my session 0 video yet? I have a video planned for session 0. I wonder when that's supposed to come out. Did that come out yet on my YouTube channel? I can't remember. I batch record all of my videos like a month and a half in advance, and then I schedule it. For instance, right now, all of my videos for August until the end of August are already recorded. They're already on YouTube, scheduled to come out. And I did that a couple weeks ago. So I'm like, I do my stuff way in advance of when it actually comes out. But I know, so I don't know if I actually published my session 0. No, my session 0 is scheduled for August 13th. So it's going to come out in 2 weeks. The only reason I'm talking about this, the point I'm trying to make is that I do backstory creation in session 0. I literally give them a template for their backstories. It has some questions on the front side, some questions on the back side, and I just have them write out the answers to those questions. And they're at the table, and they do it all together, and then they give me those sheets. And that basically gives me enough information that I need to use that information in the game, use it against them in the future. I have them do it at the table. Now, of course, the question is then, well, what if the PC dies and he rolls up a new PC and then plays? And I would still give them that questionnaire and say, hey, answer these questions. Here's the key thing: the reason I think a questionnaire maybe I can just bring this up. If I could just bring this up and show this to you, sorry, I think this will make more sense. Let me see if I can find it real quick, and then we can just look at the questionnaire. And then I think it'll make more sense to you. Where did I put that? Let me see if I can find it for you. We will look at my backstory questionnaire. You're going to get a sneak peek. So what I'm about to show you is included in the video when it goes live in a couple weeks. Where is my backstory? Backstory template. Here we go. I think this is it. Yeah, this is the one. Okay. So there's nothing fancy about this. This is very simple, which is good because you don't need fancy. You just need functional. I'm going to zoom in a little bit, and I think you can read most of this. This is not complicated. Where was the character born? Where did they grow up? Who are the character's parents and what are their occupations? What was the character doing before they became an adventurer? Why did the character leave their precious previous life and become an adventurer? What did the character leave behind? What did they miss? What did they not miss? How did the character learn the skills and abilities of their adventuring class? What does the character want? What is the character willing to do to achieve these goals? What is the character not willing to do? What is the one temptation that would cause the character to fall from grace? What is the character's greatest strength and greatest weakness? Okay, so basically, they answer these questions. This guides them through a lot of the backstory elements that I'm most interested in as a dungeon master, because what I do not want from my players for a backstory is 5 pages of story about stuff that happened beforehand. Okay? That is much less useful to me than answering these simple questions. Because 5 pages of backstory, first of all, I have to read it. I have to read it. And depending on their skill at writing, it may or may not be very pleasant to read it. I appreciate the effort and stuff, but answering a few questions is much more useful to me than writing anything. They're welcome to do it, but this is what I want. I want these questions answered. So if I had somebody that was rolled up a new PC, I would just give him one of these, front and back, print it out, and I'd ask him to fill it out. You know what I mean? If he's not doing it offline, then I'd have him do it at the game table while we're playing the game or something. It's not going to take that long to fill this out. It's just very simple questions. But that's enough to flesh out some basic stuff about the backstory. So there you go. That's my answer on that. In other words, I don't encourage them to make backstories. I make them make backstories. At least that's my policy going forward. Many of my players right now don't have backstories because I really didn't do this up until fairly recently. This is a recent thing that I started doing. But for instance, my Sword Coast Guard group, I think probably half of those guys don't have backstories, you know. But this is what I've started doing now. Anyway, there you go. Strahd, question. That's the same question. I just answered that question. All right, we're out of questions. And it's 10 o'clock, which means that there are no questions. And it's after 10 o'clock, which means I think we're gonna shut it down for the night. We're gonna call it a day. And I'm gonna go to bed and all that kind of stuff. So there we go. It's a fun stream. This stuff will happen again sometime soon. I think next week sometime I'm probably going to be painting miniatures at some point. So if you want to get a notification when I go live, follow and crap like that. Definitely do a miniature painting next week. And next Friday we'll have another stream. We'll be creating something together. One of the things I like to do is these question and answers are fun and stuff, but I also like to create things with you all. And so we do these collaborative creation things. We've created entire adventures before on the live stream, like entire adventures, and then I make them available for you to download and stuff and then use. We've created NPCs before. That was fun. That was lots of fun, actually. We created villains before. We've created encounters. We've created magic items before. And so I like to do a lot of these creation streams as well, because then we can get lots of ideas flowing. And at the end of it, we have things that we created that you guys can all use in your games. And whenever we do these creation streams, I always make that stuff available for download after the fact for you all. So our next stream will probably be painting miniatures. After that, we'll be doing some creation of something or other fun. So those are the plans. And now we're getting out of here. I'm going to bed, and I'll see you guys the next time. Or we'll see you over on YouTube or the Discord. If you haven't joined our Discord, join our Discord. It's really cool. Yeah, the magic creation one was fun, dude. I liked that one. The NPC creation one was fun too. We had lots of that was cool. So, anyway, we'll see you all next time. Thanks for playing. Thanks for hanging out. It's been fun. I love you all. Yeah, it's lame. Lame. Stopping the stream. Stopping the stream.